also spent hundreds of millions of dollars of your taxpayer money to protect and acquire the land around to keep our watershed safe. If this goes on, that will mean we would have potentially wasted all of your money as it relates to our watershed. And that too, Environmental Protection Committee, Jim Gennaro, I think really was one of the first people in New York to start organizing and speaking out against hydrofracking. He's one of the leading voices in the country against hydrofracking. Without question.
I'm grateful to our host to providing us this bottled water, but in some ways it is also
It was not purchased by the New York City Council. We don't purchase water in bottles anymore, and I just emailed the stamp. Why do we have bottled water? Taking great leadership here. Tonight we'll use this, though, it's here because it's a reminder and a warning of what a precious treasure our water supply is, and that we're going to do absolutely everything we can to protect it.
Hi, my name is Belle Gonzalez, and I'm here to represent myself and my daughter and a lot of people that I know that don't know about hydrofracking because they watch the news. And I can tell you how Lindsay Lohan's doing in rehab, but we don't really know about what's going on here today. I went to high school for environmental studies, and the EPA was, ooh, the EPA. The older I get, the more I read, I'm really scared that they're the ones handling this study. EPA to me these days stands for enforcing a political agenda, and they're about as transparent as that glass of water that they were holding up that was not see-through at all. The reason I don't have too much faith in them these days, and I wish we could have another federal agency to do these studies, is they've been sued by the NRDC. I mean, they should be on the same page, not being sued because they're taking laws out that were for the clean water and clean air, and now they're not around anymore. I had a couple of questions because I didn't know that we weren't going to be allowed to ask these questions and be answered. And it really doesn't matter, because if there's a 0.00001% chance that something bad could happen, the answer should be no. We need to find another solution to end our dependency on foreign oil, maybe stop subsidizing this. There's this Native American saying, I can't quote it because I don't know exactly how it goes, but I'll paraphrase it. When the last tree has been cut down, the last fish has been killed, and the last river has been poisoned, man will learn that he cannot drink money.
Water is the oil of the 21st century. Clean water is becoming scarcer, which will have an impact on our relations with other nations. Each well requires 1 acre or more of deforestation, and the sound of drilling has been likened to the noise of a jet engine. Accumulation of methane in private wells and homes has caused explosions. Our rural, agricultural, upstate environment will be lit up at night for drilling and will turn into an industrial zone. We ask that the New York City Council continue in its resolve for a prohibition of hydraulic fracturing in New York State, and urge that the EPA recognize the dangers to New York water, one of our country's greatest water systems. Thank you.
Thank you.
Today, New York's pristine water is the envy of the world. Billions of people around the world don't have safe water to drink, and every day 1,000 children worldwide die because of unsafe drinking water. And I think we have to get the mainstream media involved, because many people that I speak to don't know about this issue.
Alice was endemic only once in her whole life, and she left after 6 hours with sore eyes and a sore throat, and that continued for another half a day.
Being made off of it. In my hand, I have a study that is commissioned by the City of New York, the New York Department of Environmental Protection. It is estimated that approximately 400,000 pounds of toxic chemicals mixed with water and sand are injected into the ground per well. 400,000 pounds. It is also estimated that about 20% of this toxic mixture that is actually removed, is only going to be 20% of this toxic mixture which will be removed from the ground. That's going to leave about 325,000 pounds of chemicals to remain in the ground in perpetuity. These chemicals do not biodegrade. The DSGEIS estimates that there are going to be 30,000 wells in New York State. Multiply that number by the estimated 325,000 pounds of chemicals per well equals a total of 4,875,000 tons of chemicals that will remain in the ground after the drilling has stopped. Now, in comparison with those tons that I just discussed, it's estimated that the equivalent of the weight of over 13 Empire State Buildings worth of toxic chemicals will remain in the ground and underground waterways in New York State alone. Let me repeat that again. 13, the equivalent of the weight of 13 Empire State Buildings of chemicals.
The Clean Water Coalition, which is a coalition of 50 groups in Westchester, Putnam, and New York City fighting for our water supply. This is an intergalactic email from a concerned alien. Why are we continuing to waste our limited resources monitoring these self-destructive earthlings? It should be clear by now how far they've come to undermine their planet's viability, injecting toxins into the shale beneath their water supply, wasting untold quantities of precious water in the process under pressure far exceeding that of bombs beneath their aquifers, carving roads for heavy machines that pollute the air, flatten forests and farmland into checkerboards of compacted soil, sprouting rigs, compressors, equipment, and supplies, cutting through the beauty of the very trees and streams sustaining them for a network of pipes, all for gas to light the night with silly signs. They call it lifestyle. There's money, they say, to be made. Humanoids apparently are free to poison their neighbor's well by selling the right to drill on land they own, even though the aquifer under that land also supplies their neighbor. Humanoids with more of this money than others can spend it to get laws preventing such encroachments repealed. Corporations, as they're known, have been allowed to grow at the expense of the larger body of which they are a part, like what earthlings call cancer, thriving till they die with the body that they occupy. I know you still hold out hope for that immune system of these humanoids will somehow still reject this insanity.